Healthy at Home with Bobbi Jansen.
Hi everyone, and thanks so much for joining me today. You have made the biggest step, the hardest step in any exercise program, and that is showing up. I am here to cheer you on throughout our journey, and we are focusing on, throughout the series, exercises that target different muscle groups within the body. So today, we are working on our arms and our shoulders, our hips, and our glutes. And our glutes are our butt muscles. They are some of your glutes and your thighs and your hamstrings. Those are some of the really big muscle groups of the body. So that's what we're going to focus on. And to keep you balanced out, we're going to have those arms and shoulders. So for today, if you want to use some resistance, I'm going to have you grab, if you have a very light set of weights, you can always use those. You can swap it out for 2 soup cans. So they have to be the same kind and the same size. You can't have a mushroom soup and a tomato soup. They would both have to be tomato because we want to equalize the body and strengthen both sides. If you don't have those, don't worry. We're going to use resistance, and that is equally as effective. So find a nice safe space. Make sure your 4-legged animals are out of the way. Grab some water, and we will get warming up after the break.
Healthy at Home with Bobbi Jansen. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Healthy at Home with Bobbi Jansen.
All right, I hope you're ready to get warmed up and get down to business. So we're going to start off with high knees. Just so you know, I am not wearing shoes, but if it's more comfortable for you to wear shoes, you can go ahead, but you might hear my feet sticking on the floor. So for high knees, I'm going to lift my right knee in front of me. My knee is bent, my leg is bent, so my thigh is parallel to the floor and the ceiling. My foot is flexed, and I'm going to set it down. So just lifting your knee with your leg with your knee bent and switching sides and putting it down. Lifting it up and putting it down. Easy peasy, right? If you find you're losing your balance, you can put your fingertips on a chair, and I'm just going to keep going through side to side. Lift it up, put it down. If you want some more and you're ready for some more, you can go ahead and jog this. This is where you're going to hear my feet. So I'm bringing those knees up nice and high. You can imagine you're hitting the ceiling with those knees. And 3, 2, and 1. Bring it back down. So we're going to come back to that nice still standing and keep your feet moving just a little bit. Now we're going to take that movement and take it back. So you're going to imagine kicking your butt with your heel. I'm going to start with my left leg, bringing it towards my butt, my glute muscle. Imagine I'm kicking it with the heel. Bending the knee, kicking behind. Imagine I'm kicking my own butt. So I'm just going to go left, right. And this is getting the thighs and the quads warmed up. Now if you want to kick it up and add that extra cardio, this is where you can run it. You're going to hear my feet sticking to the mat. Keep going, 1 then the other, and 3, 2, and 1. So I'm going to slow it down. My feet are still moving. I'm coming to a nice standing position, nice and still, nice and tall. I'm going to do a little bit of visualization here. So we're going to warm up the arms and the shoulders, and I really like this one. So your hands are down at your sides. Let's just move them so your palms are on the front of your thighs now. So they're in front of you, your hands are resting on your thighs. You're going to imagine you're dipping your fingertips in warm, gooey paint. Now, you're dipping your fingers in that paint. Now you're going to drag your hands, the backs of your hands, up an imaginary wall that's in front of you. Dragging that paint all the way up the wall. My fingertips are pointing downwards, painting the wall with the backs of my hands, raising my arms up above my head, fingertips towards the sky, dragging that paint down with your fingertips and the palms of your hands this time. So you get to make a giant mess. Pick any color or any texture in your mind, dip those fingers in that paint, drag your hands up the wall, big stretch, and down, making that nice mess with your palms. And we're going to pick this up a little bit. So if you're quite comfortable, stay where you're at. Otherwise, we're going to drag those hands up just a little higher, getting some movements in the shoulders, and take them down. So I'm just speeding that exact same movement up. And we're going to go one more time, all the way up. That actually feels quite good. Nice and tall, and dragging those hands back down. So my wall, in my mind, is a giant, fabulous mess. So we're going to move into our very first exercise now that we've got the blood pumping and got some movement in those arms and shoulders. So this is a variation on a squat. If you find your balance is a bit challenged, you can put your hand on a chair. You can have the chair beside you, the back of the chair in front of you. You can be close to a wall, a buddy, but go at your own pace here. So I'm standing nice and tall, feet flat on the floor. I'm gonna step my feet just slightly wider than hip distance, very slightly. So I'm gonna take my palms, feel where my hips are at, and run my hands down my legs. Now if the sides of my legs are extended out from my hips, okay, that's about the right position. And if you have any knee pain, while we're doing this exercise, you can step it out a tiny bit wider, and I mean about 1 to 2 inches, okay? So we're nice and tall, our abdominals are nice and tight. So if I come and poke you in the belly button, those muscles are firm and activated. I want you to think of keeping your chest nice and tall and upright, facing the wall in front of you, and your neck long. So you're holding that Christmas orange. You've got a big juicy Christmas orange between your chin and your chest, creating that length. Don't actually go and grab an orange. I just want you to visualize this. So now I'm gonna hinge at the hips, imagining I'm sitting down in a chair. So I'm gonna drop my hips and my butt back. Your hands can be on your hips in front of you, wherever's comfortable. Sit in an imaginary chair. You don't want your butt going lower than your hips. You're gonna hold it here. My thighs are parallel with the floor or the ceiling, and my hips are no lower than those knees, okay? You should be able to wiggle your toes here. You're gonna hold this. Now, if you can wiggle your toes, what that means is you're not putting all the weight in the front of your feet, so it's actually helping your balance. You're not gonna pitch forward. Now, I'm gonna bring my chest up a little higher, so I'm just gonna make my posture higher so I'm not folding over. I want my chest facing that wall in front of me. And can you hold it for 5 more seconds? I'm pretty sure you can. And bring it all the way up to standing. This can make your legs burn. It is excellent for strengthening the core, the leg muscles, as I said, and the muscles of your butt, which are big, powerful muscles that we use for walking, swimming, hiking, biking, everyday movements. So you're gonna do that exact same exercise again. So focus on form. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Big breath in. We're gonna exhale, come into that squat or that imaginary chair. My hands are wherever is comfortable. I'm dropping the hips back, no lower than the knees. You can always take your hand and run your hand from your hip to your knee to make sure that your butt is no lower than your knees. And what I want is your knees to not be over your toes. So if you feel like you're pitching forward, your knees are probably over your toes. So you're gonna imagine putting that weight back in your heels just a little bit. Keep breathing. Stay with me. And up you go. Good job. If you need to wiggle the legs a bit, mine are a bit sore today, you can go ahead and do that. We're gonna do this one last time. Okay, so when you're aiming at doing this is something you want to practice by yourself. You can just count and keep it consistent for a couple sets. And as you progress, see if you can hold it just a little longer. So this is our third and final set. Come down as if you're sitting in that imaginary chair. Chest is high. Like you're nice and proud of this seated exercise you're doing. You're sitting in your imaginary chair. Super exciting. And while you're down here, just notice what's happening. Are your shoulders up by your ears? Let them relax. They don't need to be part of a butt exercise. Your shoulders have nothing to do with this. So let them relax. Focus on your breath. And 3, 2, and all the way up to standing. Whew. Good job, you guys. So I'm just gonna shake out my legs. I'm gonna come into that standing position. My feet are hip distance again. So you can run those hands down and feel that. If you wanted to use any weights, your soup cans, you can go ahead and grab those now. So I am not using any weights, any equipment today. So I'm gonna imagine what I'm moving through is like pea soup. It's super thick. Or Greek yogurt, something very, very thick, something that in your mind makes you happy. Imagine that. So I'm gonna take my hands just straight down at my sides to start. I'm gonna rotate my arms so my palms are facing the wall in front of me. My thumbs are pointing to either wall on either side. So So just like I wanna high five someone down low. Okay, so now I'm gonna make a fist, and I'm gonna raise my arms with my elbows straight. So as one unit, raise my arms straight forward in front of me to about shoulder height. Don't go higher than your shoulders, and lower it back down. Good job. Make sure you're breathing, your core is tight. Take them all the way straight up out of the shoulders, up again. And down you go. Now, if this is easy, you need to imagine you're working through something super thick like that Greek yogurt or that pea soup. Raising those arms up to shoulder height. The fleshy inside part of your arms is facing the ceiling. And I'm going to exhale and let them go back down. I've got 3 more of these. Those arms up, shoulder height. Let it go. Up again to the shoulders. And you're not going to believe this. I lost count. Oh my word. Take it down. We've got 1 more for good measure. I think I was enjoying the exercise too much. And take those arms up for the very, very last time in this set. And take them down. Good job. If you were using soup cans or anything like that, don't drop them just yet, but you can give your arms a little shake. Get some movement happening. Now, what were your elbows doing? Don't lock them. And what that means is don't force them to be super, super straight. You want your arms straight and strong, but we never want to force into an exercise. So get set up. Okay, so if you've let those belly muscles go, bring them back in. Rotate those hands back out so your palms are facing the wall in front of you. My hands are in clenched fists because I'm not using weights. And I'm going to raise those arms up to shoulder height. Arms are parallel with the ceiling and the floor. Take them down, right back at the hips. And remember, they're coming just straight out in front of you, shoulder distance. Bring them up again. I hope you're breathing. Take them down. Raise them back up again. And what I want you to think about this time is, can you make it a little bit harder? Imagine your arms are working. Lower them down through something so super thick. Let's go for like glue. And up again. And down. And I'm going to get you to give me 1 more. Activate that core. So tighten up those belly muscles. I noticed I just let mine go. Raise those arms straight out in front of you. Good, let's hold it here for 5, 4, 3, nice and strong, 2, and 1. Let it go. Now, if you've been using your soup cans, don't drop them. Gently place them on the floor. Shake out your arms. If you need to grab a drink, you can do that at any time. This is your workout, your way. I'm going to move down onto the floor just so you're going to hear my feet sticking, and I would like you to join me down on your mat, your floor, your carpet, wherever you are at. So I am sitting on my butt. My knees are bent. My feet are flat on the floor. I'm going to just make it so that I don't feel crunched up and uncomfortable. So I'm just going to scooch back away from my feet a little bit. So I've got an upside down V, and I feel fairly comfortable. I'm going to take my hands behind me. It does not matter which way your fingers are pointing, just as long as there's no pain. So your fingertips can be on the floor or your palms can be flat on the floor. This is going to depend how far back your arms are and how long your arms are. So go with what works for you. So my upper body, I'm going to lean it back slightly, creating a V from my upper body to my knees this time. My neck is nice and long, my shoulders are relaxed. Now this is where things get tricky. You're gonna have to play with your hands a bit, figuring out where they work for you in this exercise. So I'm going to raise my left leg above the floor, keeping the knee bent, my shin parallel with the ceiling, and I'm gonna put my foot back down. I'm gonna switch legs. Knee is bent, lift the leg, put the foot down. These are called toe taps. So we're basically tapping our foot back down on the ground and lifting the other leg. Lift up the left leg, put it down, lift up the right leg, and put it down. So what I want you doing is not using your hip flexors, which is the crease in your hip. That can be So let's pick up that left leg. That can be really tough on the low back. I want you to think of picking up these feet and right leg, pick it up with your abdominal muscles. So just imagine your belly muscles are lifting that leg up and setting that leg back down. Right leg up, using those belly muscles, set it down. Left leg up, set it down. Now, how are you doing here? Let's take a little break because we're going to reset and make it a little more difficult. Because we can. So if you're quite comfortable with that first one and that's where you want to stay, by all means, stay there. Otherwise, I'm going to pick up both feet so you can put some of the pressure into your hands, but I want you thinking of using your abdominals. Bring your upper body so your chest is tall and proud. Okay? So I'm going to pick up both feet. This is where I have to play with my hands. I need to move mine a little further or a little closer towards me. I'm going to pick up, oh boy, I'm shaking. Both legs, both shins are parallel to the sky. My knees are bent. Okay, and from here, then I'm going to touch down the right toe to the floor, the right set of toes to the floor, and bring it back up. So I'm bending at the knee, touching the toes to the floor with the left leg, and back up. Oh my goodness, I'm shaking. Right toes down to the floor, bending at the knee. Use your tummy, left foot to the floor, back up. Oh my word. And you can put your feet down. Good job, you guys. So just, you can relax everything. Keep your knees bent, your feet on the floor, but relax your belly, relax your neck, relax your shoulders, because I'm going to have you do that again. The core being the foundation of our body for movement, for every function you do, for coordination and for stability. All right, so we're going to take those legs back up, both shins parallel to the sky. Tap the right toes down to the floor. Left toes down to the floor, bring them back up. Right toes down to the floor, bring it back up. Left toes down to the floor, up. You got one more each side. Right toes down to the floor and left toes down to the floor. Bring it back up and let it go. Good job, you guys. If your abs are shaking, mine are too. So grab a drink if you need it, and you can join me for the cool down after the break.
Healthy at Home with Bobbi Jansen. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Healthy at Home with Bobbi Jansen.
All right, everyone, it is time to cool down and stretch out. So I am sitting on the floor. My legs are straight out in front of me. I'm going to let my feet just relax. If for you that's having them flexed or letting your toes point, it's whatever works for you here. Now I'm going to take my right leg, I'm going to bend the right knee and slide my foot closer towards my butt, so it's making a V. Now I'm going to drop my leg out to the side, making almost like a 4 with my legs, like a figure 4. The sole of my foot is going to go to the inside of my thigh or the inside of my calf, so either my lower leg or my upper leg, but not on the knee joint. We always avoid putting pressure on any of the joints within the body. So on this side, I'm going to go to the lower leg. I'm going to be nice and tall. Imagine your body is like a stack of Legos, nice and straight. Now I'm going to hinge at the hips. So I'm going to fold forward from the hips with a nice flat back. I'm going to walk my hands forward along the floor. My fingertips are touching the floor, and they're just going to walk slightly ahead, keeping that back long. And now you can go ahead and relax your neck, your upper back. Imagine your body melting over top of that leg. So you never want to feel any pain. You should feel a stretch, but no discomfort. This should feel good. And let's slowly bring that back up. Sitting up nice and tall. And I want you to do the exact same thing to the other side. So I'm going to stretch both legs out in front of me. I'm going to take the left leg in, sliding the sole of the foot towards my butt, bending my knee, dropping the leg open to the side, creating that figure 4. The sole of the foot is either to the inside of the lower leg or the inside of the upper leg. Just to be different, I'm a little more flexible on this side. I'm going to bring my foot to the inside of my thigh, of my upper leg. And I want you to hinge at the hips. Breathe nice and easy, and we're going to fold forward from the hips, from your waist. Walk your fingertips forward towards your toes. Now imagine that back being nice and long to get that stretch, and let your body melt towards your legs. So you can let your upper back relax, your head and neck relax, relax your face, often unless you're smiling. That's good exercise. but often we carry so much, I call it lemon face, so much tension in our face, and we make these funny faces. And that can transfer to headaches and discomfort later. Just let the muscles of your face relax. Feel that nice stretch. Can you melt a little further? If not, don't worry about it. And we're gonna come back up, and you're gonna extend that left leg straight out in front. So we've got both legs straight out in front of us. Now my knees are not locked. I call them soft. So they're not really bent, but they're not forced down into the floor. Okay, so my legs are comfortably out in front of me. We started the episode off with painting the walls. We're gonna paint the floor, paint our legs. So imagine you're dipping your hands, so they're at my sides, I'm dipping them in some warm paint. I'm gonna put my fingertips on my thighs, and I'm going to paint my legs using the backs of my hands. My hands are gonna flip over, so my fingertips are pointing towards my torso, my body, my hips. And I'm gonna run the backs of my hands down my legs towards my toes. I'm gonna flip my hands over so my palms are flat on the legs and my fingertips are facing towards my toes, and drag that paint up the legs, coming back to a seated position. So we're gonna do this again. Back of the hands, down the front of the legs, hinging at the waist. Imagine painting those legs and bring it back up. And one more time, paint it down the legs. Reach and bring it back up. Excellent work, you guys. I'm so glad you were able to join me. I hope you can tune in next time. But in the meantime, stay moving and stay motivated.
Host, Bobbi Jansen. Video production, Honeycut Studios. Integrated Described Video Specialist, M. Williams. Content Development Specialist, Jim Crisco. Supervising Producer, Jennifer Johnson. Director, Production, Karen I. VP, Content Development and Programming, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2022, AMI Accessible Media Inc.
An AMI original production.